I think I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And I'll ask Jennifer Cherry, our Vice President, if we've got a quorum.
Yes, we have a quorum.
The reason I asked Jennifer is because as of April 1st, Lise Lang, our secretary, resigned, and we can only elect a new officer in a board meeting. So, resigned her position as secretary, not from the board. She's still on the board.
I'm not able to sign contracts because of my non-disclosure with Morton. So I want it to move forward.
So anyway, that's why it lower on the agenda you see elect board secretary, so that we'll be doing that later. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is approve the March meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? We've all seen those minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
I second it.
Then I move to approve. And you second it. Okay, good. All in favor? And then we also had an executive session last month, and those minutes we also have in our hands. And do I hear a motion to approve those minutes? Anybody? Nobody likes those minutes? I'll make it. Seth makes a motion, and I hear a second. No second. So okay, you say second, and all in favor of approving the executive session minutes? All right, we got 4, so that's good enough. Okay. Okay. Summarizing the votes that we took since the last meeting, we approved $20,000 for a new mower. Chuck's mower that he was using, we have a couple, but it basically died. And we're right in the middle of mowing season coming on strong, so we needed a mower quickly, and we approved $20,000. It turns out it cost us a little over $14,000 for a brand new mower, so we saved a little money on that anyway. We also moved $20,000 to the yacht club account to cover some of the last remaining bills that are coming in from the yacht club. And was there anything else that we voted on? I don't think there's any major votes that we took there.
I'd like to make a point of clarification. $20,000 is not going to cover the remaining invoices.
To cover some of the remaining invoices. It's not, that $20,000 for the yacht club won't cover everything, but it'll cover a fair amount. Next couple of months. Okay? All right. So next on the agenda is my update. First thing I wanted to talk about was the restaurant in here and what we're doing there. We've submitted the restaurant management agreement. I think last month I mentioned that our HOA attorneys told us that we can't have specifically a lease. We can't lease common areas. So it has to be something of a management agreement. So it's kind of legalese. It's going to effectively be very similar to a lease. We'll be getting paid for the use of the facility, but it won't be a lease. So that we had a template that we gave to the HOA attorneys. They're looking at that and making sure that structurally it works for it to be a management agreement. And hopefully they'll get back to us soon on any changes we need to make there. Now, also, one of the obligations that an HOA board has is to, the way the law is written in the property code, that an HOA board must engage neutral third-party experts to do business where they don't have expertise. In this case, with the possible exception of Seth, there's nobody on this board that has the expertise to negotiate a restaurant lease or management agreement. So we're later in the meeting we'll be talking about engaging the Falcon Group. We also will be proposing a deadline for all interested parties that are interested in operating a restaurant here. Basically, giving everyone a deadline to submit the information and the letter of intent, etc., so that we can move forward from that deadline. So, basically forcing the issue to make sure we're moving forward, in a timely manner. The next thing is a cell phone tower. AT&T is a very big company and doesn't move real fast. But what we're waiting for right now is, because again, we can't lease common areas, so what we do with the little patch of land up at the front can't be called a lease, but we can grant an easement. And so we're waiting on AT&T to basically send us a proposal that pays for an easement to be granted. So I'm not sure exactly the status of that. Even I've talked to the guy that is working with AT&T, and he's basically submitted that request to them. He said shouldn't be a problem, but they've dealt with easements and leases a lot, so he said it shouldn't be a problem at all. But we're just waiting on AT&T to get back to us. Spyglass update. As you know, we made the initial payment to refund the dues, and then sent them all the information they needed to kind of calculate what they think the final payment might be. And they just recently got back in touch with us and said, we think we have the final number for us, so we're going to have to sit down with them and make sure that we can agree on what that number is, and then make that final payment. It should be, as I said last month, less than $5,000. So hopefully that will be resolved by the next board meeting. We also have made some changes in the front office after careful consideration, and we took our time making this decision, but after careful consideration, the board voted to eliminate the administrative assistant position in the front office for budget reasons, as well as we believe that the office can be run by 2 people. So unfortunately, Zahia Hartani was laid off, and that was effective as of last Friday. Also, another change we made in the front office is we promoted Shelley Carstensen to senior community manager. Shelley has the experience in the field and a lot of knowledge and a lot of contacts and network, a good solid network of people that really bring a lot to the table. And so now basically the roles of Shelley and Kristen have been reversed. Now Shelley is the manager and Kristen reports to Shelley, but we really believe that that's a very solid team and they're going to work really well together. And I think if you talk to them, they'll tell you the same thing. And finally, well, I guess we already covered this, but we're going to be later in the meeting electing a new secretary. Okay. Next is treasurer's report, and that is Seth, so I'll hand it over to Seth.
Morning, everyone. So for the treasury report, let's start with the cash on hand. So this month we have a total of $436,000 of cash on hand according to the balance sheet. So we've had a good increase of cash. I know we have had some expenses that have come up, like we mentioned the mower and whatnot. We had to fix the pool, which was very minimum last month, but overall we are doing pretty good and giving us some room for the coming maintenance that everyone has been hoping for the roads and whatnot. So moving to the balance sheet and the income statement. Overall, for total expenses for the month of March, we had $186,000 expenses versus a budget of $270,000. So basically a good gain to our budget for the quarter. Over for the entire quarter, we had expenses of $511,000 versus a budget of $670,000, and that was a net variance of $158,000 back to the bottom line. So giving us more money for future repairs, as we know, as the roads, the fountain, and a few other things that are high on our list to attack this quarter. So total net income was $23,000 for March, and versus a budget of a loss of $68,000, and same for the year to date. We have $112 net income versus a budget of negative $68,000 as well. So a variance of $180,000. So over the last 3 months, we've seen, better cash flow, and where we can, I feel that we as a board, at least me and Andre as a treasury part, feel more confident in our where we stand in our cash flow for the time being. So that is a good thing for Chandlers. I hope that all y'all can look at this and agree that we're on the right track. And that's it for Treasury Report. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Trury. I'm going to go ahead and give a quick rundown on maintenance real quick. He's been working on the irrigation system. We had to have the pipes flushed through here. The city required it. Also, we talked about the new mower. The crew was down a mower, and so we're a little bit behind on actually cutting grass just because we didn't have a mower. It was completely broke. Like, Chuck does a really good job of replacing tires and trying to fix it as much as he could, but it was just really, unsavable is not a word. It was not salvageable. So we had to, and it was time for them to get a new mower. They're really excited, and says it helps out a lot. So they're starting back up mowing season, and what they permitted, they'll keep catching up on getting everything cut. So give them a little bit of grace. Door keying, we had the gate hit by someone visiting a resident. It's finally kind of coming to an end. They paid for it. We had to put out a warrant in order to kind of get them to pay for it, but it's getting paid for. So that's being fixed. They were here Friday to fix that. And then another person hit the entrance gate. So we have filed with a police report in order to get that rectified. But we really are having a problem with people not being patient with the gate and hitting the gates. Realize that costs us money every time someone does that. So encourage, especially if you're ordering food and it's getting delivered, make sure you're telling them the correct directions to go to the front gate and not the side gate, because they get frustrated and don't know what to do, and so they run the gates. So try to, if you're going to order anything, give good explicit directions so that doesn't happen. The speed humps, if you haven't noticed, they were painted. They're all done now. It helps out quite a bit, because I don't know if y'all hear people getting, as they go over them, scraping their cars because they couldn't see them. So now that the speed humps have been painted, it helps out a lot. Chuck and them are now also doing work orders. So like if someone requests up here on the board, or you as a resident requests something to be done, we're having work orders just being filled out so we can keep track of everything getting done and kind of have a log. Pool items, we have to replace the drains. Ever so many years we have to replace the drains on the pools, so we're getting those done. He's also meeting with the health inspector to make sure everything for the pool is ready to go for this summer. We're hoping to get that done soon. Let's see what else. Of course, we've had a couple of storms, and every time we have a storm, we have to do a cleanup on the parks and everything. So, for instance, a lot of limbs and things fall. So they're just doing due diligence around the neighborhood. Also, storm drains. I don't know if you noticed in the park, but he's had to clear out some mud to allow storm drains to go through. They've done a lot of work in there to make sure the water's flowing a little bit better. They've also had to clear out the storm drains down here by on the other side of the pool. There's a storm drain that gets backed up with leaves and sticks and stuff. And then also by the maintenance shack, they had to clean out that storm drain. They're just constantly doing things. So another thing Chuck's done to fix the fish feeders. I don't know what happened to the fish feeders. Someone stole some equipment off of it. Maybe, I can't imagine the high winds took it, but he luckily had some spare parts, so he fixed the fish feeders, and he should be filling them, I believe, this coming week. So we'll be back on track with that. And then the only other thing was, I wanted to mention the newsletter. I haven't mentioned it in quite some time. It is out. There is some copies in the back of the room. So feel free to pick one up. Give some interesting information about the neighborhood. A lot of people in this neighborhood contribute to the newsletter. So pick one up. Any questions, let me know.
Next up, security, Luce Lang.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming on this rainy day. Security has been somewhat quiet with the exception of some kids driving recklessly in a golf cart. I did post last board meeting to please call security if you see this. The sooner you call, the faster they can react, and they can go and stop the kids. You have to be at least 16 with a driver's license to operate a golf cart, unless you have a parent in the car with you, or in the cart, excuse me. So if you do not have that, they are going to pull you over, they are going to call your parents, and eventually the parents will be fined. It is illegal to operate that golf cart unless you have a valid driver's license. So please take note of that, and it's not a toy. It's easy to remove the key from the golf cart. You can put a lock on your golf cart. There's no reason that a child should get a hold of that. On top of that, the north gate has been an issue for us. I do typically post if it's going to be down for the morning commute, or if it's going to be down for more than 24 hours. If they think they can fix it, we usually try to send security over there to keep it open for you so you have easy access, but it has been an ongoing issue. So sorry about that, but I'm not going to keep posting if it's going to be a quick fix. We're just going to post if it's down for, a long term of time. With regards to events, which I'm going to go right into, we had a fabulous Easter egg hunt, thanks to the Ashmores that donated over 2,000 eggs. We had that on March 30th. Taste of Chandlers was a fantastic turnout. Thank you all so much. It secured our 4th of July fireworks. Some of our grillers are here, like Joey Rivera. I don't know if Vince is here, Joe Lang. So many of you came out and supported it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe, for all your hard work organizing it. There were 167 last year, and this year we had 206 people that walked through and took advantage of our grillers. Tasting their food. So anyway, they had a great time. We had a wonderful band that played. Cody Marshall took care of the band for us, and it was fantastic. We had so much fun. So thank you. We raised a lot more money than we did last year. So we have secured our fireworks for this year, but we still have the raffle going on. So if you can support the raffle, that helps all the other little things that go into place, like getting the barge and taking care of the fire chiefs and feeding them, and the boat that takes out the barge. So there's a lot more in play. So if you can, please support the raffle. I think there's, Joe, 16 prizes?
14.
14 prizes. And 2 of them are Southwest tickets anywhere you want to go in the U.S. So those are up. So for you to it's real easy to get the raffles. It's 5 for $20 or $5 each. We had a great eclipse watching party down here. We also had an eclipse group that paid for us to come in through Kemper, and we made $860. So they had a fantastic time, and they loved us. And so they're posting out there all about Chandlers Landing. Spring yard sale will be April 27th. If there's a rain date, it will be May 11th. Kid Fish will be May the 4th at 9 a.m. We have a May Sip and Shop on May 11th. Yeah, okay. And Memorial Day weekend, we're really excited about that. We're looking forward to having our pool open. The garden tour will be June 1st, and then we'll have another Sip and Shop fundraiser June 22nd. And then, of course, we'll have our big 4th of July celebration. So, looking forward to seeing all of you. Thanks so much.
I don't think the wireless mics work. Do they, Rick? Okay. Rick Morrison next with the roundtable report.
Get out behind everybody here. So, I'd like to thank everybody coming to the roundtables. We'll have our next one in a week and a half. The purpose of the roundtable, despite what I've heard from a few, the purpose of the roundtable is for everyone to come. Whatever your feelings are about this building, about this community, I'll try to keep it respectful and open, and everyone here is welcome, and please come to let your voice be known. The main topic for the last couple of roundtable sessions has been this 501 building. Hopefully we can come to some conclusions rather quickly so that we have Memorial Day, the 4th of July, and the summer available to the club. So that's all I got to say about the roundtable, and please come. Thank y'all. And
Julie Spokes will give us an update on the 50th anniversary celebrations.
Okay, like Leslie said, we are having another event on May 11th. It's going to be the day before Mother's Day, and we're going to have a lady coming and bring her lots of plants. So if y'all decide to not buy Mother anything until the last minute, come and buy her plants. We're also going to have the little petting people in. So there's going to be lots and lots of shopping, and we're going to have wine, selling wine. Charities coming in to sell wine. And then also, we have been talking to a local winery that wants to come in and just do a wine tasting. And then they'll be able to sell their bottles of wine, but they'll give us the donations from the wine tasting event so that we still have money donated to the 50th, sorry. And then also, we're asking if you have any raffle items you'd like to donate so that we can raffle those off too, so that we can get some more money going for the 50th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Julie. Okay, there's no old business to attend to, so we'll go into the new business. And the first item is electing a board secretary. I kind of explained that earlier. When Lise resigned her position as secretary, it was as of April 1st, and it wasn't a joke. And that just went over. That was a dad joke. But so the bylaws basically say that if there's a resignation, it happens as of that date, and it's official. The board doesn't have to take any action. That resignation is official. So as of April 1st, we didn't have a secretary. So we thought in one of our working sessions that we could, well, actually during that session that she resigned, we thought we could take a vote and elect a new secretary, which we did. But that vote is not valid because you can't elect an officer of the board unless you're in a regular meeting or a special meeting. So that's what we're doing today. So in light of all of that, do I hear any nominations to elect a board secretary?
I nominate Julie.
Okay, we have a nomination for Julie. Any other nominations? Okay. I don't think a second. We don't have to have a second, but that's fine. If there's only one nomination. Yeah, there's no other nomination. So, all in favor? Aye. Okay, it looks unanimous to me. All right, well, so now Julie Spokes is our new secretary. Excellent. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, hopefully there aren't any fireworks, speaking of things, is considering engaging the Falcon Realty Group to negotiate the contract for the restaurant operator that comes to operate inside of the yacht club. One of the things that we all know, having done business, we've done business, when you make an important decision on a financial decision and you're hiring somebody, you get 3 bids. Okay? So the idea here is that right now we only have one, and if we reject the Falcon Group, we will be making it a 0-bid contract or a no-bid contract. So that creates risk for the association, and it also, if you talk to attorneys, it also creates personal risk because our D&O insurance won't cover board members who vote against their fiduciary responsibilities. So just kind of a word of warning, and we can talk about this, and I want to have a discussion about this so that everybody hears what we have to say, but the one thing that's most important to me personally when we're making this decision is that we do it the right way. Actually, I think Christie's will be a great group. I don't have any, preconceived notions about who is going to be the right company to come in. I think Christie's is very impressive. I'm just saying that we need to do it the right way so that we're minimizing the risk for the association. So, having said all that, I'd love to open it up for discussion on the board if anybody has anything to say.
We agreed in a meeting that we would use not only Christie's, but David Stubblefield as a good restaurant attorney, correct? That's correct. And our HOA attorneys. That way we'd have it all sewn up. Each one covers something to make this a good contract for us. Because it has to be a management contract. It's not like we can do a lease with somebody. And I'm okay covering all of that. I just want a drop dead date that anybody can put in bids. I want to move forward with someone, and I'd like to have them in to even help us out as early as Memorial Weekend if they so choose. That's my preference. And I just see one candidate for that right now. However, anybody that wants to come in, when I was down here to do the Eclipse party, 2 guys were down there taking pictures, and they thought it'd be a good idea to put in an upscale steakhouse. And I said, really? And I said, okay. I said, but if you're not coming in with big marketing dollars, you might want to rethink that. You know, and go down and look at Sears Steakhouse, because it's closed on Sundays and Mondays. But that's okay. You know, just whatever, if you got the money, then bring it. I said, but don't wait. Bring it quickly, because we've already got 2 candidates that want to come in. So if we agree to that, if we agree to adopt drop dead date on May 1st for any candidates, and if we're ready to go forward with our legal teams, and they can get it done quickly, then I'd be in agreement with that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to say that. I like to be able to move a little bit. As far as the Christie's group, they got with me the 11th of January, and I've been diligently just working with them. I've negotiated nothing. I've evaluated them. I've done exactly what I was instructed to do by this board. I don't know how long they're going to go, but we're about to go into the dates. That's why I mentioned the round table, and everybody knows this. It's going to take them probably 60 days to get in here. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in that kitchen. There's a roof leak right here that needs to be corrected. We've worked on it. The roofers that we've had over the last 25 years, is what I've heard, have been unable to get that roof sealed. So we've got some issues that we've got to take care of. And that means something, because it all has to do with the budget. So whoever we're dealing with, negotiating, and I say negotiating, those are hard dollars. And we have to look at it from a treasury perspective and be able to go to whoever it is, whether it's Christie's or whoever. We have to factor that together into our budget. And all that's going into these negotiations. And to pull a realtor in that won't know that, they will not know that. I think that might be a little short-sighted.
So when it comes to the Falcon Group, I'm totally on board with Greg about our fiduciary responsibility. They are not just a realtor. They are a corporate realtor who deals specifically with restaurant groups and landlords, and have been doing it for a long, long time. And I even called, because we've all agreed about the discussion as far as making sure Mr. Stubblefield and our HOA attorneys were on board to get us a management agreement that would be in line with our bylaws. And that's a great thing that we all need to make sure, because it's another thing, as we said, our D&O license won't cover otherwise. The Falcon Group. So I reached out to a very, very high-level restaurant attorney who has been doing with Corner Bakery, Freebirds World Burritos, a bunch of different fine dining restaurants as well over his career, and has moved up. And so I asked him, would you be able to help us? And he said, I just don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the time, and I really appreciate it. But you need to get you a true realtor lawyer that knows this stuff, and you need to use someone that can basically help us out. So I mentioned the Falcon Group. He goes, oh, who's the Falcon Group? So I said, go look them up. And he looked them up. This was just, last 2 weeks ago. And he looked them up and he goes, oh, so-and-so, so-and-so. He started spinning off all their names. I worked with them. Oh, they're great. Oh, this is a great person. Oh, you got the right team. And he's like, this is what you need. So for the third person to come in and say, this is what you need for what you have going on here. And I've talked to him about this place many a time since September. For me, just gives me better backing and confidence that we're making the right decision by going with Falcon Group. Falcon Group is only going to charge us $8,000 if they were to help us with Christie's and make sure that we have all the negotiations done completely. And I'm trying to work with y'all on putting out bullet points about negotiation with percentage rent and different types of rent, and making sure that the lease is tidied up for certain things on covering our butts as far as them fixing the building and covering property taxes and everything else. And we've had very limited responses back and forth, and that's where I'm a little frustrated, because I do have experience in this, and I'm trying to move forward with a Christie's group or somebody else. And the Lombardi group that has come to us is also, if y'all know anything about Lombardi Group, they are an amazing group, and there are 3 different partners on 3 different types of restaurants who've looked at this place 5 times, and they're very interested, and they haven't got us the LOI, but we are waiting, and that's where Greg says we're going to give you a deadline. But my point is, I feel like we need to make the right decision by bringing in, having support with the Falcon Group, because they do this on a day-to-day basis with thousands of landlords and thousands of restaurants, and you can go on their site and see the proof of the backing of all these places they've done. And that's all I have to say about it. Thank you.
Okay, when they had a meeting that I was unable to attend, and it was relayed back to me that we were considering using Falcon Group as a negotiation and consulting person. Negotiation person. But they have given us an agreement that gives them exclusive rights to list the building. I didn't understand that was what we were supposed to be having them do. I thought they were negotiating and consulting, not taking the listing and become a realtor at large to the whole world. I never understood that, and I don't feel like the information on their agreement is what we thought we were getting. I have no problem with having someone come and consult and to help us with our negotiation, but I really don't want to give all of our rights away to one realtor company that doesn't even understand us. And we have had, like they said, 5, 6 different companies come and look at doing this building. Only one knows that they can do it. The rest of them said there's no way they've been able to do that. And they have not, no one else has made an intent.
Not true. There's been
I have not seen any other letters of intent that somebody else wants to. I have not seen anyone come to us as a board and say, I can do this, I can handle all of this. That has not happened. It's not been done for me. So as far as I'm concerned, we still are at one group of people who think they can handle this building and this community. I think we only need negotiation and consulting, not a realtor's listing, not someone who had the whole deal that can be done until 2025. I think we should do this in the next 20 days or 30, but only if we do it as a contract for negotiation and consulting.
First off, there has not been 5 restaurants that have come through here. There has not. There has been a total of 3 people that have looked at this place. Okay, from the 2 from the Falcon Group, 3 from the Falcon Group, and then you have the Christie's group. Okay. Second off, this is not an exclusive realtor contract. If you read the contract, it is not exclusive. It says if we bring them something. If we bring them something, it's not exclusive. Okay, that's what it reads on there, and that's what I want to say. It's not that they're guaranteed, and it's not exclusive. It's if we bring them something. It's a help, like you said, a consultant.
Right, and there's 2 things that I would say here. One is that we're not giving away all of our rights. I don't know where that came from, but we're not giving away any rights actually with this contract. And the other thing is, if we eliminate the bit that basically pays a commission to the leads that they have brought to us, then we've again made it a 0 bid contract, and we're rejecting our fiduciary responsibility. So what we need to do is consider viable options. So if we have, let's just say we have a May 1st deadline for everyone to submit their information, and I will also follow that up by saying we haven't received all the information we requested from the Christie's group either. So none of the applications, quote unquote, are complete. But if we do let's just say a May 1st deadline, everyone has to have their stuff in by May 1st. If they don't get considered. If there's only one group and it's Christie's, guess what? We negotiate with Christie's. But if we reject all other options before we even see them, then we're actually rejecting our fiduciary responsibilities. So we need to engage with an expert like the Falcon Group to make sure we're covering our fiduciary duties and the due diligence that's required by it. That's what I would say.
Also, Seth and them were touring with 3 or 4 restaurants or whatever they said, but other people were also touring the building also. So to say it was only the 3 is not correct. There's been several, even residents that live here have come and looked at the building and thought that maybe they could do it, but it just didn't happen. We don't have another LOI. And if we sign an agreement now to pay a realtor a percentage to bring them, I feel like there's all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of LOIs out there, and now we're delayed the whole process again. I think this is just asking us to not have the ability to move forward on the people that I feel are the most qualified to do this restaurant.
Well, it's kind of hard to say who's the most qualified when you only have one set of information. There's other people out there that are interested, and it's not going to be a whole bunch of LOIs. The Christie's or the Falcon Group could potentially bring us 3 LOIs. I anticipate if we do a May 1st deadline, we'll get 1 more LOI. So we'll have 2 to choose from, which is in comports with our due diligence requirements, and then we can make that decision and move forward. So I don't think there's a big delay here. It's like May 1st deadline, get your stuff in. If you don't, we've only got 1, that's who we're going with. If you have 2, we can make that decision pretty easily because there's only 2, and we move forward. And we can do it as fast as we can. So I don't think there's a problem in terms of scheduling or deadlines or moving forward quickly with doing our due diligence as well. Rick, did you want to? Rick's got his spot over there.
I spoke with David Stubblefield, the attorney, for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes on a conversation. He had great information. One of the things we need to consider as a board, and the community needs to know this as well, we can hire realtors, we can hire attorneys, we can hire all of these people. But at the end of the day, this board of directors has to determine and decide on the points of interest by both the tenant and the community. That's our decision to make. So we can hire these people, we can pay them whatever, we can hire Kemper again. We can pay them all. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to make the decision amongst this board right here. So the decision I'm attempting to make is to move forward and now. I mean, we've been munching on this for about 3 months. So that's all I got to say. I'm finished talking about it.
Yes, please. Come on.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
I'd like to address mostly the board. I have a lot of questions about what we're doing here today. Is there going to be a proposal, because I'm not sure, regarding this particular contract today? A motion to vote on it?
I plan on making a motion to vote on
On this as it is?
the the agreement that I sent to the board, yes.
Okay. Can I look at the contract? I have some observations, some questions, all kinds of stuff, so please hang with me. First of all, just my general business sense says this is it says exclusive listing agreement. Now, I'm thinking Falcon is not going to bring anybody to us if we don't sign something. Is that correct? And you're,
That is absolutely correct.
All right.
Any leads they have already generated would go away.
that's what I would assume. We all, I believe, from what I've heard, we all like Christie's, but we also feel that we need to do our due diligence. And turning away or not even accepting or putting out that we are trying to get at least one, and I think Greg's probably right, if we put a deadline, which I don't see in this contract, which I would like to see in this contract, of May 1st, everybody who's interested must submit by May 1st. I would say if we could throw in a friendly amendment to this contract, and if Falcon Group, who I don't, aside from the one phone call last 2 weeks ago at a work session, which I asked a lot of questions of, what's her name? Jackie. And I was pleased by her answers for the most part, and that's why I felt comfortable moving forward with them. Although, I also feel that Stan, I don't remember his last name, who presented to us the development option, which we've already passed on. We felt that that was not going to be a viable option for us. I felt when he was talking, he also had restaurant experience, and I felt maybe he would be a good guy. I don't know anything else about him myself. I don't know much about Falcon, aside from what I heard a couple weeks ago, which I was impressed by Jackie, very much impressed by Jackie. So if we can amend this contract a little bit, I think I would probably be in favor of it. But it's got to have the May 1st date, and I think it also should have the date, what was the next date that I think I heard? As far as they have till the 1st, and that we want to make a decision by the 15th of May.
Well, that's on us.
2025.
Yes,
That's
I
on
understand
us.
that, but I
That's
want to
on us.
understand the timing
That's on
of
the
what,
board.
pardon me?
You don't put a restriction on Falcon Group when it's a board decision. You know, if we want to make a decision by the 15th, we can, but you don't put it in the Falcon contract.
Right, okay. Well, then I would expect a similar motion to that effect, that this is what we are looking for.
That we're planning on.
Yes.
I will say, go ahead.
I'm
No,
just
I
trying to get this
no.
thing through the
Yeah,
board.
We could maybe eliminate this instead of being a one-year contract into 2025, we just make it a 6-month instead, or 3-month, and say, you gotta get something to us in 3 months. So we don't have to, so they don't have exclusive, if you all are worried about the exclusiveness of it, you take it down to less
Okay.
months, 3 months.
Okay, I hear that.
Are you open to that?
Well,
Going back?
I'm open to whatever, gets us moving forward.
Okay.
All right. I also thought I heard in, I don't know if it was text or emails or what, or verbally, that we're looking to get someone in here. And Jackie also told us, one of the questions I had was, if we have a motivated buyer and we have a motivated lessor, what's the typical timeline? And she thought I don't have my notes in front of me, but
180 days.
90 to 180 days.
Yeah, 3 to 6 months.
180 days.
But that's if you remember, that's if they need to do remodeling.
remodeling, what have you.
But you also gotta remember they
No
gotta
one's doing
do their,
remodeling.
Let me tell you what I recall. She said 3 to 6 weeks to do the negotiation part. If I remember that correctly. Rick, you were there. Jen, Greg, and I were at that meeting, and Lizzie, Julie, and Seth didn't attend that call. So my recollection.
Covering a wedding here and making money for you all instead of being in that meeting. We cleared $2,500 on that wedding, and we were in default of contract for y'all being downstairs.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. But Jackie had said 3 to 6 weeks for the negotiation side was normal, and 3 to 6 weeks for the legal document side, contract side. So we're looking at, I said, well, that's 3 months, basically, on the outside. And then she said, of course, then there's the remodel. But that could be part of the contract as far as that you might be collecting rent by then. So can any of you either confirm my recollection or correct me?
I'll go back and look at it. I got the entire meeting
Right.
report, so I'll let you see.
That's about what I recall,
Okay.
and that's what she mentioned was kind of typical time
Right.
frames for the types of contracts that she does.
Right.
But as you suggested, if you have a motivated buyer and a motivated seller, and there's not much remodeling to do or any of that, all that could be very much compressed.
So we all did a quick calculation. We thought, holy cow, that's going to be November. That's too late, is I think our general perception in that call. Like, oh, geez, we want this done much quicker than that. So,
I mean, I've opened restaurants. They got to do the kitchen and the menu and the testing, and they got to train the wait staff, and they got to get everything, the tables right here. So that's going to take a month of going through and making sure everything's correct. And of course, hopefully, there will be some of the test kitchen that, you know, the board and residents can come through here and test it out. But they're going to have to come in here and do that for it, you know, and get everything right. They want things right before they open, and it's not going to be, oh, we're going to try to just have a couple wait staff and we only got one cook in the back. You know, they want to make sure things are correct. You know, and that's going to take time besides its negotiations, and it takes time to open restaurants.
And there is some remodeling to be done. The city won't let us open that kitchen
Right.
because it does not meet code. So therefore, all the walls have to be done, all the floors have to be done. There's cracks in the ceiling tiles and stuff. None of that is meeting code. We have to do that. So that is remodeling that has to be
Well,
done.
what remodeling in this sense generally means just moving walls. We're not going to be moving any walls.
I didn't know it was clarified.
There's no memorial.
I will clarify that Christie's contractor is very well known. He just finished the old roundabout, which is now Wade's Landing. They also did a restaurant out north.
so it sounds like we have a very
Well, anyway,
motivated contractor also.
The city,
So
the
here's-
city said they're very good. If you're going to use somebody, get them because they do impeccable work. And they told me it'd take them 10 days to do that kitchen, but they're working for Christie.
Okay. So here's some more observations. If we go with a Falcon Group agreement, and it maybe needs to be tweaked a little bit so we can get it through the board here. Christie's is very motivated, and if these other 2 or 3 folks are motivated, they're gonna, I gotta believe Jackie wants to make some sort of money with us.
As fast as you can.
As fast as she can. So,
No one's dragging their feet.
I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. So we've got motivated folks. If we put this deadline of May 1st, which is 10 days from now, and we get nothing else, no other LOIs, and it's all Christie, then it's a smooth road, right? In my opinion. Plus, the board and the community can have their confidence that we went through due diligence. We put it out there with the program. Not only that, but we've not gotten financials from Christie's. We did get a business plan. We've not gotten the management bios from them, which I've asked for. And I also asked Jackie in that call, what are the typical things that you request? Because I asked for a bunch of stuff in the beginning. I'm not a commercial leaser. I said, I want business tax returns. I want business financials. I want management bios. I want a couple other things. And a couple of the board members were like, holy cow, you're asking for too much. So I asked Jackie, what do you typically look for? She said, we require 3 years business financials. I said, well, this is kind of a new company. They're probably not going to have it. She says, well, if they're already running a business, we want to see that. I said, all right. And then I said, what if that's not sufficient? And she says, well, then we go with tax returns, and then we might have to go with personal financials. And then she listed, the 3-year business plan.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there was something else, and I said, well, do you ever consider a performance bond? And she said, well, that's something that we could write into the contract. Because my concern is, now everyone likes to throw out how long they've been here. I've been here 10 years, and we've had a restaurant for a couple of years, then this thing is empty for a couple of years. Then we get another restaurant, and that runs for a couple of years, and then it's vacant again. And this is not good for the community. I think everybody understands it. So we really need to do our due diligence on the financial side, in addition to, can they run a successful restaurant? I think Christie's, they're running several now, at least the one management buyout we did get. I was pretty impressed with James. I don't know his last name, but Mr. Hoffman is running several businesses. But I'd love to see his financials on those businesses. So I don't know. I guess I'm spent here. I'm talked out.
So you made a few points. I just want to make sure if we wrote a deadline into the contract and we had a shorter term.
Yes.
Was there a third? I thought there was a third point that you made.
Well, I want to talk about this condition here.
Exclusiveness.
The actual.
Well, it's actually not an exclusive. It's exclusive to negotiate a management agreement. It's not an exclusive to list anything. It's just titled to list. I know that's the title, but if you look at what it is exclusive, it says the exclusive right to negotiate a restaurant management agreement. It's not to list the property. So just for clarification.
Does it mean that they get to come in and I'm sorry, I'm so confused by the people around me. Are they going to negotiate Christie's, even though Christie's?
They would help with.
Any contract that we execute, they will
So
get
they'll
negotiated. They will
on
get
top of
paid.
Dave's Stubblefield, on top of.
They would get an $8,000 negotiation consulting flat fee
And
for
the attorney's
Christie's.
fees, the
Flat
restaurant
fee, and
fees,
then-
and the HOA.
But we would have exclusive rights as Chandlers to negotiate all terms, final terms.
Yeah, it's all up to us. We get to decide what we
They're
can
just gonna help us.
But she would be the negotiator.
So having a restaurant attorney and an HOA attorney is not combined, is not due diligence? I don't understand.
They don't, attorneys do not negotiate, they do not do negotiations. They just make sure the terms and the leases are correct and make sure things are good. An actual person who does negotiations is not a lawyer.
The reason it's not due diligence,
That's
however,
two
is
different-
because we would reject Christie's and all the leagues that they have, and we would make it a no bid
You
contract.
mean Cal? Well,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
It was down with Kemper, and it was down to another, that's why I'm not talking at all.
Well, no bid contracts aren't a good idea, but anyway, this is a board discussion. Thank you, Dave, for interjecting.
All right. So
Was there a third?
yeah, I want to make sure that I understand. Excuse me. So one of these conditions is $8,000 negotiation fee for Christie's for an owner-generated lead, meaning
That's us.
Christie's.
Right,
I'm assuming this means Christie's.
right.
If one of these three folks that they say are interested actually pulls it out and gets their LOI to us by the 1st and all their financial information, and obviously we would have to evaluate that income revenue, that revenue stream, with what Christie's has got, and that's going to cost us, if there's no other broker, 3% of the initial term, 5-year term, and I'm in my crazy world.
But then we won't have anyone negotiating on our side, they'll be representing the other person.
No,
No, you can't have it both ways.
Absolutely.
You can't have the client and the buyer together by the same person like
You
that.
can, it's more work for the realtor, but it's, that's absolutely.
The realtor would have no reason to try to push this $8,000 deal through. They wouldn't.
It's our
decision.
It's our decision no matter what.
But they're doing the negotiating.
No, they're not. They're helping us negotiate the fine tunes of the
The deal
negotiation.
points, you're talking about.
Yeah, like I was talking about.
The deal points for each side, is that right?
Are we gonna give them a 2 months free rent in the beginning?
That's a deal
and
point.
10,000.
That's a deal point, that's a deal point. That's
Helping-
exactly what
helping
Stubblefield
negotiate.
instructed us to do.
Exactly.
As a board, not as a realtor.
But the board doesn't have the expertise to do that, that's why Falcon's.
I don't know why.
Maybe you and I, Rick, are the only ones that negotiated leases. I mean,
Well, let's back up a second. Again, the due diligence part of this isn't whether or not we use David Stubblefield. I think we agreed that he's part of the equation here. The due diligence part of this is if we reject the Falcon Group, we reject all of those leads and we have one left and it then becomes a no bid contract. No bid contracts are not how you do business.
They can still bring leads to us, other people have brought leads to us.
And personally, I'm all about paying Falcon Group if they've provided us anything. But for this right here, thus far, they've provided a big goose egg. That's all they've provided. So at this point, I'm careful about what we sign. Why would we sign anything?
Exactly.
it actually brought us to that, so why would they say, here's the LOI until we actually sign something? I mean, that's what they're like, why are we gonna give you?
I think we should come together as a board, if we
Please.
could intervene, if we could go to a special meeting right now and decide these deal points, I've got them on the computer, theirs are. And we can agree, or if we have a discrepancy, we can talk to them and say, hey, we got a discrepancy here, how do we come to an agreement here? And Falcon's gonna require us to do the same. They would.
Again, our fiduciary duty is to use the expert resources that we have
Well, that's what Stubblefield
and
told
not,
me to do.
and not have a no bid contract.
That's what the
If we had
attorney,
only one choice,
Gentlemen,
that's
please.
the restaurant.
Can
the
I
restaurant-
finish?
Go ahead, please.
All
You
right.
have the-
When we get the LOIs, if we get two, we already talked about Christie's coming through. They've got their numbers, then we work a little bit, your rent's too low, your security deposit's too low, whatever it is. We work the deal points. If we actually have another LOI, and we have to do a financial analysis on the total revenue stream, including commissions and legal fees and all this for Christie's, and then we have to do this on the other side. Now, if Falcon cannot negotiate a higher rent to cover their commission, what do you think our decision's going to be? We're going to go, well,
88,000.
well, whatever it is, we're
Yeah.
probably going to go with Christie's, especially since they've had a head start.
Right.
They're looking at menus already. They've got probably a very nice build out for us. They seem very energetic. Those I call them kids. And they're very pleasant. They seem enthusiastic to please us. So it's more than just the commission. Now, I can tell you, if that commission turns out to be $50,000, they better have some income that covers that. But that's what we need to make sure we're considering, the whole thing, and to have at least one other group coming in with an LOI really saves us in the future. It saves us in the future. That's my biggest concern. So I understand that everyone wants this very quickly. Ron's chomping at my ass all the time about when are you guys going to do something. So it's not like I don't feel it too. But we do need to step properly, in my opinion. And I think
Then delete the 2025 thing, just make it 20 days or 15 days.
Well, okay,
We don't need a whole year.
No, we don't, and that's just the term of the contract. That really doesn't have anything to do with it. But we can shorten the term, certainly. It needs to be long enough for things to get negotiated, obviously, but we can shorten the term, that's not a big deal.
so. Are we? I'm going to ask.
Yeah, make it 90 days and put a May 1st deadline in there.
Take a little bit.
So can we do a friendly amendment or table it for
Well,
a very short
Sure,
time?
no, we
We have
can
to go back to Falcon Group.
Obviously.
make sure that they're okay with it, but we can approve it conditionally. We can say that as long as these terms are in the contract, the board approves the contract.
All right. So Julian, Rick, and Lizzie, whoever else.
So change it to be a negotiation, yeah.
90 days.
Okay, yeah, but the terms, none of the deal terms. Yeah, okay, no, that's fair,
All
that's fair.
2025 stuff, all goes away, that's no.
Yeah, this is 90 days, continue 90 days.
Yeah, I got that on.
All right. So we're talking 90 days for the listing contract, listing
The
agreement.
term of.
The terms. All right.
30 days, not 90. What's
30's
90?
not, 30, what if the
She
negotiations?
has standing in line to come here, how does it take her 90 days to come?
No, it's a negotiation, so the negotiation could last longer than 30 days.
She gets
potentially.
30 days to bring
You ever
people.
done
That's it.
No, that's not what this is. This is a,
That's what it
it's
says.
not for,
Listing.
no, this isn't for her to bring names to us. This is for.
This is ticket jack. What's 30 days and 90 days matter? 30 days and 90 days matter. 9 days doesn't matter.
I don't understand this.
Well, let me. I'm going to relate this to listing your house. The listing agreement usually is for 6 months. But if the broker brings you a deal for the sales price, they earn their commission.
Yeah, you don't wait until 6
You
months is
don't-
up before you do the deal.
Right. You list your house, you accept an offer, and Evan, you're a pretty good guy to speak to this. So correct me if I'm wrong, please. When an offer is made and you say, yeah, I'm going to sell that house, it doesn't matter how long that stupid listing agreement
And all parties are
is.
motivated to do that. I mean, there's no delays here because everyone wants the deal.
So I'm going to submit that 6 months would be more than enough. I think 30 days is not enough to get this deal done. But I also,
Not 30 days to do the deal, 30 days to bring any listings in.
I thought we agreed May 15th. I thought we were
Then
agreeing
why
that
are we
May
paying a
15th.
commission if it's not a listing?
Let's back up. We are talking
That's what
specifically
I'm
about
gonna say.
terms and property. 90-day term.
That means the
Can I get some clarity? When did we first start talking to the Falcon Group? Because I've heard a couple of different
November when I
dates.
first got on the board.
November, because I heard October one time.
October and November when I first got on the board.
So November to now, they've had this. And since then, we've had Christie's come to us. So Christie's is moving, they're doing everything, and I'm sure they put a letter together to us with everything they thought they needed to answer, and they sent it to everyone, and I passed it off to everyone that had their phone numbers. So anything that anyone needed was very capable of talking, communicating, emailing, calling James or whatever at that point in time. I really feel that if we had provided them the same thing we're providing Falcon with right now, they would be in this building right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel that way. You can say no, but that's the way I feel.
Well, Rick, you say these things, but we said that we were going to have you be the one appointed contact at that point back then, right? And Andrea and I for Christie's, and we sent multiple times, multiple requests for things that did not come back. So you can't say that they were ready. And Falcon Group, they did their presentation at the end of January at that restaurant. So they did some restaurant event, training show. That's where they presented us and got their start of their leads. Is at that show. But again, when it comes to Christie's, we were asking for stuff, and I remember even in the last board meeting, you said it had been a month, and technically I remember looking back I had met them just the previous week, was when we had just met them and discussed things. So,
I'm not clear with what you're.
And I'm just going back to our the 2 board meetings ago when you said you had brought them to us a month earlier, and I actually looked at my notes after the meeting. We had met with them 10 days earlier as a board, and I have it. That's the first time I had ever met with Christie's Group was 10 days previous to that meeting.
That's in an email document, a point by point from January 11th all the way through to when Andrea thought the first week of February. It's all documented, well documented in your email box.
And I want to make sure that everyone knows that I'm not against Christie's Group at all. I'm still with Greg about wanting to do our due diligence, make sure we get a few people to come through here so that we are making sure that we're not just, we're just going to jump on the first thing that comes on board. And then also at the same time that we are getting the points that we've asked for the financials and the tax documents and some of the other things that still have not been provided. So to wrap it up, Julie, this is a term of just saying that they would help us with the negotiations, not about exclusive rights to lease. And if we want to bring it down to 90 days, that's going to give them a little bit more time for us to do negotiations and back and forth and get things done with the lawyers, because the lawyers aren't fast. The lawyers don't go fast either. So we need time to be able to get this all done. And I think that 90 days seems fair to me. And if y'all disagree, then I'd like to hear that.
Well, if you combine a 90-day term with a May 1st deadline, that things are going to happen, right? And then we do cover our due diligence obligations. So to me, if we reject doing anything with Falcon, I've said it like 8 times now, but if we reject this, we reject all of those leads, reject all those potential options that we might have, they go away, and we only have one option. And that is not doing your due diligence. So I just think this is a very important thing for us to do.
I want to make a motion.
Why don't we agree to a 60-day term, because that puts us in July. After July 4th, we'd have someone in here probably. Why don't we agree to 60? We do May, June, and then we're ready to go in July.
And I guess that's okay, but the term, the length of this term is really not that important to executing, getting someone in this space. It's 90 days, if we do 90 days or 60 days or a whole year. We're going to move on this as of May 1st. So the term of the contract isn't terribly germane. It does need to end at some point.
Shows urgency.
Well, I think a May 1st deadline for all LOIs would show some urgency, and that's what we're talking about writing into here too, right?
I want to make a motion. I want to make a motion that we table this contract until they can give us one that makes more sense to all.
I will make a competing motion that we approve this contract with a 90-day term, taking out the exclusive listing language and putting a May 1st deadline in for all LOIs. Do I hear a second? Seth seconds that. I'd like to take a vote, and I'd actually like to take a roll call vote so that all votes are recorded. Seth, if you would start, and we'll just go this way. Yes or no?
Yes.
Can you restate the
Yeah.
motion? Sorry.
The motion is approve. We already had it. That's what this was. That's what this was, the discussion about this agreement.
Not the motion. You discuss the motion.
So,
No, that you approve the motion and then you vote on it.
Discuss the motion.
The discussion was on the agenda item.
No.
I want to be very clear about this
tell,
motion.
tell them what you want to change.
What else is there to say? I think we had the discussion.
Yeah, so tell them what you were changing.
So the motion was to approve the Falcon agreement, eliminate the exclusive listing language, make it a 90-day term, and incorporate a May 1st deadline for all LOIs. Those three changes. No, I said 90.
I want to say.
She said 60. Well, my motion is 90. and again, the term of the contract isn't terribly germane, but
Through June anyway, the president, yeah, so.
But that's why there's a May 1st deadline also, right? If there's a May 1st deadline for all LOIs, we're moving May 1st. So we had a second, and we had our one vote. Jennifer, what, yes or no?
Well, things just keep changing, so it makes it a little bit, takes me time to process. I am not a realtor. I am not a restaurant owner. So I really try to listen clearly what all information I'm getting, and it doesn't make it quite easy, but
Point of order.
And-
Julie made a motion. Was there a second to it? I never
No.
heard.
There was not a
So
second.
there's
Well,
no
I don't
second.
think there was a time to give her a second to it.
I never heard it because there's all the noise going on. I didn't hear it.
There needs to be clarity. You guys work for the community, and this is not working for the community right now. You're fighting against each other.
I don't think it's fighting. We really don't get time to discuss stuff. So, I mean,
Have weekly meetings.
huh?
Can you table it until you hear from the people that you're representing?
I would second Julie's motion to table it.
I vote
Now we can have discussion.
at the table, so tabling the motion, now, okay, so let's vote on that then. Let's just do a roll call so we can make sure we.
Yeah, until we get a clear contract, there's no need to vote.
So Seth, do you vote to table this motion, or table this, discussion? That's a no.
I'm gonna get moving.
Jennifer? Because when we table it, it just puts more time into the cycle.
Can't table it once you ask them to vote.
No, she made a motion before I made a motion, so point of order, we'll consider her motion first. And her motion was to table this discussion until later, to reconsider later. So to table the Falcon agreement, Seth says, no, we don't want to table that. And what do you say? Table the motion or no, or table the agreement till later or no?
Yeah, I'm on the table because I don't feel great about what's written on this Falcon thing.
We can change that. We can change that.
I don't, here's the
So-
thing, Falcon hasn't brought anything. I haven't seen any LOI or nothing. I don't know why we pay them anything when I haven't seen anything. So we've seen something else, not to say that they don't count, but I still don't see an LOI, so I'm not paying you for not bringing me anything.
That's why we put. Okay. Well, the motion being considered right now is to table the Falcon agreement, and I say no, don't table. And Ms. A says yes. And Julie says,
Can I amend my motion?
not now, we're voting on it. So do you vote to table? Julie?
Yes.
Julie is a yes. All right, and Rick?
Table it so the contract read properly?
Yes, I vote to table it.
All right, well,
We don't have clarity.
we don't have any, no, I'm sorry.
I get to say
No,
why.
you can vote yes. You voted
Table it
yes.
because we don't have
Andrea.
clarity in the language of the contract.
You vote to table it as well? Okay. All right, so that motion is tabled. Or that agenda item is tabled. So, the next agenda item was a May 1st deadline, which doesn't seem to be a point that is necessary.
Because y'all just tabled the Falcon Group.
Right.
It doesn't have to be any longer. You can have a May deadline.
Well,
Are we
once
finished with that
again,
one?
that's
that
not,
motion?
nowhere, y'all. That's
Are we
not,
finished with that motion? I'd like to make a motion.
well, it's not on the agenda, so you can't make a
I didn't
motion.
get this agenda until yesterday at 4 o'clock.
That's not
So you got the agenda, right? And you had the opportunity for the last month to submit agenda items.
That's what I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
And
well,
as
if
far
we-
as this agenda,
As
the agenda
far as,
came out at 4 o'clock
okay,
yesterday.
fair enough. Every board member has
So
the
I'm not being
opportunity.
allowed to make a motion.
No, you are absolutely allowed to add an item to the agenda, right? And during the meeting, if the board wants to add an item to the agenda, we can. That requires, according to Robert's Rules of Order, it requires a 2/3 vote of the board. So
Okay, let's do
five
it.
of us,
Let's
five.
do it.
So what is the agenda item that you want to add?
The agenda item I want to add is negotiating with Christie's. So we don't have them on the sideline for going on the 4th month now.
Exactly.
So we are negotiating with Christie's, are we not? I don't understand the motion, or I understand the
I
agenda
never
item.
made the motion.
The agenda item.
We've been negotiating from.
But that we are already negotiating with Christie's, are we not?
You told me not to, Greg.
I didn't tell you anything.
You told me to negotiate specifically. That's what you told me. Do not negotiate by your order and the
Well,
attorney's order.
okay.
That's what you said.
I never said do not
Yes, you
negotiate.
did. I got it on recording. You
And
want
I've
me to write it for
got,
you?
sure, I've got emails that you say you are negotiating, so, you know.
No, you did not have that.
You've
I've
used that
never
language.
said that.
Absolutely, you have.
No.
But anyway, what's the agenda item?
The agenda item is, let me read it for you. Yeah, in accordance with Article 6 of the CLCA bylaws, this article and specifically Section 1 provides that I can go forward and I would like to move forward with the listing or with, let me get to it here. So, we have to move forward on the deal points. Deal points have been made by Christie's Group, which is now Rockwall Hospitality Group, and that we've got our own deal points as well. And that came forth to us on Thursday through your email. And I don't know if that was part of a Falcon deal or your deal, or I don't know where that came. Oh, it says. So we got deal points on that. I'd like to move forward with negotiating those deal points on both sides of the equation for Christie's and for us. And start negotiating with them and let them know that we can move forward and we can condense this timeline to hopefully get them in here as soon as possible if we're successful with the other requirements that are all administrative.
So you want to basically move forward exclusively with Christie's?
Yes.
That is what they want.
However you want to word it, we want, not exclusively, if someone else comes in, not through, if someone else comes through that's not part of Falcon Group, they're more than welcome to come and talk with us until we come to conclusion with Christmas.
I don't really understand the agenda item, because we are already negotiating with the.
No,
with the
okay,
Christie's
who's
group.
doing that?
You are.
Oh, okay, so I'm now getting, the motion is that I move forward the negotiations on Christie's. That's my motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
There's no.
That's the motion. I made it 10 months ago, and I was turned down.
Yep.
I was there.
That was also out of order. I really don't understand what the agenda item is you're trying to add.
The agenda item, for your admission, is I'm supposed to be doing the negotiating. I would like that on our paperwork that Rick Morrison has been authorized to negotiate with the Christie's group personnel. That's the motion I'm placing.
Well, okay. Well, we can make the agenda item authorizing a negotiator. I mean, we can, and that will go at the end of the list.
Didn't name one. Get somebody, give me a seat out favor.
Well, that's okay. Hold on. So you want the agenda item would be to appoint a negotiator for Christie's, right?
I've got more experience.
Right. So and that's fine. We can add that, but it's going to take 5 of us to vote for that to add it to the agenda. So do we want to put that appoint a negotiator for Christie's on the agenda? And that's we have to have 5.
In fairness to Christie's, we owe it to them.
Well, we can take the vote to see if we're going to add it to the agenda, and it'll take 5 yes votes to put it on the agenda. So again, we'll start here. Do we want to add that to the agenda, Seth? Seth says no. Jennifer?
I don't think there's anything wrong with him negotiating. I thought we've already let him negotiate.
Are we going to appoint are we going to add that to the?
Are we talking about just appointing him as a community?
It's just the agenda item would be to discuss appointing a negotiator for Christie's.
This is crazy. No, I say no.
Do you want to add that to the agenda, Jen?
Sure.
There's a yes. I say no.
I say yes.
You say?
Yes.
Yes. Julie was a yes. Yes. And Rick, I assume you're a yes.
Well, yeah. Don't make me change my mind.
And Andrea?
The motion is to add an agenda item to this.
To appoint a negotiator for Christie's.
Yes.
That's the agenda item.
Please.
Yeah, this is a board meeting, not a public forum.
I don't appreciate the pressure from the community right now.
Then don't take the job. Like, you guys are dysfunctional, man. This is not a good look.
And you're out of order, but thank you for your feedback. Andrea, you're up.
No, it's not. We have what? Less than 4 minutes.
So that's 5 votes to put it on the agenda. So we'll put it on the agenda. It'll be item E. It will be item E. It's added to the end of the agenda. So the next agenda item was creating a deadline for interested parties for the Yacht Club Restaurant Group restaurant operation. I mean, is that even putting a deadline on LOIs basically for Yacht Club restaurant operators?
That'd be a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea until we rejected Falcon. I don't know that it even makes any sense now.
Yeah, nobody wants Falcon. That's the problem.
If only I would say yes if we're gonna figure out these documents by next week and get this contract back to them by next week.
Right. And what? Yeah. Nobody's hearing this. So basically, do we want to consider a deadline for all interested parties? Because if we've rejected the Falcon thing, there's only one company to work with anyway.
Falcon can still bring us, we just don't have to sign unless we want their candidate. Exactly.
Don't you understand that they're not going to bring it unless we sign?
They're not.
They do not understand that.
They
don't understand.
Well, fair enough.
Can you not sign it?
Well, but the Falcon, if we don't put something in place with the Falcon Group, all of their leads go away. They're not bringing us anything. Why would they bring us something if they're not going to get paid?
Because we might want them. We might sign
But if we Well, I think we need to have that agreement, and that way Falcon will bring us stuff. Yeah. No, but this is a board discussion.
I just think we announce it, we leave it open, we let anybody come in and tour the building that wants to tour, they have a May 1st deadline. If Falcon brings us the Lombardi group, we consider that, let the residents decide, if they want to.
Yeah.
Who wants it. I think they have a right to do.
So this is,
We're not going to get anything from it. Does not, if y'all put up understanding business, they're not going to bring us the lead. They're not going to let us have the lead until we sign something that says, when we bring you this lead, we'll do
Then
this.
that's their decision to not do it. They don't want to get the money.
that's just a terrible way to do business. We don't have an agreement, so bring us all your leads, and then since we don't have an agreement, we can do whatever we want with that lead. We don't owe you anything. We can just take that lead and make the deal points, right? That's how that works.
A realtor brings them a lead.
And what did they do with that realtor? They actually signed a listing agreement, didn't they? No, sorry, I'm sorry, Jim. I'm sorry, but this is a board discussion, so the owners forum will be soon. I promise. So I guess do we have a motion on the deadline for the TYC restaurant party? Make a motion for May 1st. What is that? May 1st. Deadline for. Wait, now you made a motion for a May 1st deadline for what? For what? But the motion has to be specific. So you're saying May 1st deadline for all interested parties to do what? To do what? So please restate the motion then.
The deadline for TYC interested parties to submit their LOI is May 1, 2026.
That's the motion. And you made it then, Rick?
No, she did. I can help her.
Okay. Rick makes a motion, and we have a second. Now I guess we need to vote, unless there's a discussion.
I would like to discuss.
Okay.
I say that I would agree to the May 1st deadline if we get this Falcon contract worked out to the 90-day agreement. This is not, again, an exclusiveness, and that's the only way I would agree. Y'all be quiet over there. We're trying to talk up here as a forum and get this done. So I would agree to that May 1st deadline if we could get the Falcon Group, because again, if we agree to this May 1st deadline, we are then throwing out all our due diligence of saying that we are in our fiduciary responsibility of bringing in other places to look at this to say they have a chance here. And you're telling me you're rejecting them when you throw out this contract. So if you're going to throw out the contract of the Falcon Group, you're not giving them time to be here for the May 1st deadline. So again, if we're going to talk about the May 1st deadline, I agree to the May 1st deadline if we get the Falcon Group contract also done today. And we can do that in executive session if we need to.
No, we can't do an executive session, but
I'll tell you what I'll do, Seth. I'll reach out to every commercial realtor in Rockwall County. I'll tell them we have a drop-down deadline of May 1st and to bring in your candidates. And that way we've done our due diligence.
So that's, again, are y'all even looking at the calendar? I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. We're going to come in here on the 22nd, and you're going to try to contact how many realtors to get, then for them to go contact other people that might be interested here about May 1st. Y'all do y'all do business on a day-to-day business at all? This is not rocket science. 90 days for Falcon Group to help us negotiate stuff is not a big deal. 90 days. Okay, and you give them the May 1st deadline to get those LOIs who they've been working with for the last few months to get us something within May 1st. Then I said, again, I would agree to that. So you have the Falcon Group and Christie's, and then, yes, if you want to try to get a hold of someone in the next 8 days or whatever on the 22nd on Monday of realtors. There's not going to be. You may get one if you're lucky. I mean,
So
really?
why have we been stalling all this time with Falcon Group if we already
We're not
had the
stalling.
LOI?
Nobody's stalling. We're working the plan. We're working the leads that they brought to us. There's no stalling. I don't understand why there's this perception that there's stalling or fake running. It takes time to do business. It takes time to do it right.
It's a motion on the table, we have to vote.
No, it's discussion.
It's discussion.
There are one-time showing agreements that brokers have. One-time showing, and you get a
It's a
flat fee.
board discussion, please. Sorry to interrupt.
But
Board
you're not a
discussion.
realtor, and you don't know that.
It's a board discussion.
I understand.
Okay, I'm gonna try to speak my opinion. So we all know that we've been in a position before, let's say with Kemper, and not a lot of people were happy with it, right? I think we can agree with that. So I think when we say look at two attorneys' opinions, get Falcon or whatever group it is to give us another opinion, I think that's doing due diligence. Now, I'm not really big on the listing agreement part. I'm fine with the giving their opinion and making sure we're going in the right direction and protecting our community. I am. Because I plan on living here for a long time, and I don't want to make a bad decision for our community. So if you want to talk about going forward right, I'm okay with having 3 sets of opinions and paying for it to make sure we CYA ourselves. So I think in the motion of going forward, it doesn't hurt to have another person's opinion on this, and that's just being what you call it. I hate the word fiduciary or whatever, but it is our responsibility to do the right thing for the neighborhood, and so I don't reject Falcon. I appreciate their opinion, but only on the negotiating side of things. So that's my opinion.
Any other discussion or commentary on?
I thought we had this all done. I thought we agreed to consulting with Falcon, agreed to Stubblefield, and agreed to our HOAs.
Yeah, I thought that's what we decided to use all 3 resources. Right. I don't think you understand the contract, but that's so the I guess if there's no more discussion on the motion to have a May 1st deadline for all LOIs from all interested parties, no more discussion, then we can take a vote. That was Seth?
I say no unless we're going to get this document.
Okay, so that's enough. Yeah. No, and Jennifer? So you want a May 1st deadline? All right. And I want a May 1st deadline too, but I'm with Seth. If we don't have any other options, then I say no. Lisa?
I say yes.
Yes. Julie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
No.
And Andrea says no. Yeah, so the motion passed, 4 yes, 3 no. So there will be a May 1st deadline given to everybody, I guess, but we don't have anything to, I mean, I don't know that Falcon Group is going to respond, but we'll see.
They come to the deadline,
They won't if they don't get paid.
That's all right, Charlie.
They get paid, then you have discussion, contract that we approve. They get paid. Like everybody else.
Anyway, we don't have an agreement. Anyway, all right, so the next item on the, thank goodness it's something else. The next item on the agenda is the Labyrinth Park sign proposal. I hope Jan's still here. There she is. Jan will present to the board a proposal to put a sign in the Labyrinth area. It's not quite Labyrinth Park yet, but
So, first of all, I was tickled to see the labyrinth in Main Street this last time. Does everybody know the difference between a labyrinth and a maze?
Closer to your breath, yeah.
A maze is a puzzle. A labyrinth is a journey. A maze is a.
You just have to put it closer. You want something to keep the microphone.
Yeah, put it right
It is a solid.
Pick up.
Okay, the difference between, there you go,
right.
between a labyrinth and a maze is a puzzle, and a labyrinth is a journey. Board members, you were given my proposal in your board agenda packet, and I'm wondering if you have any questions, other than we need to choose which of the three marked locations to use. Do you have any questions?
Can you explain a little bit more than that? Because I didn't see this agenda. No.
Why not?
So, why
We all
did
got
I
it
see
yesterday. We all got it yesterday.
That's better than the neighborhood. Neighborhood didn't get it at all until we got here, so.
Wow.
Okay, so explain the different pictures for me.
You could get I put a title on the window. One sign is designated by
But where is this 35-foot curve?
the street curb.
On the yacht club part or the
Yacht club.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
I get it.
Okay, and this one is 22 feet from what curve?
Same curb,
Same
same
curve
spot.
further down or closer?
Same spot.
Closer
On
to
the
the
curb
right.
of yacht club.
Farther from nothing.
And this is the same class. So all three, we're just asking for different measurements.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That's by the heavy load day?
No,
No, it's not by the heavy load day? It's by
it's
the corner?
between the heavy load gate and the guard shack.
Okay, right. So about halfway, okay.
Questions?
Well, I mean, I guess we should discuss a little bit. Thank you, Jan.
What is your recommendation for the placement?
I would like the middle one. The one that's 22 feet from the curb. It's a little bit up the hill,
Yeah.
but it's not in your face as you're walking by.
And then this is the proposed sign, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, let's discuss. Thank you, Jan.
Have you cleared that through ACC?
I have.
Yes, this has already been cleared through the architect's committee.
The ACC,
ACC.
yeah, the ACC worked with the city, and it's all okay.
And for clarification, it can be named a park now, and if we wanted to take it back in the future, it can be taken back. So once it's named a park, it doesn't just get stuck as a park. It's not permanent necessarily, so we can repurpose and take the land back if you needed it or something. And this is also Jan is this is not CLCA funds. This is Jan's funds is funded from.
Chandlers Landing, initially Chandlers Landing gave $2,000 toward this project. That was like 6 years ago. Ever since then, I put the budget. Do you see that?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, 2,000 from CLCA. Where is that?
And where those funds held?
It went toward building it.
Oh, the labyrinth itself.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Everything else I personally funded.
Right. Well,
I guess the question for us would be, do we want a sign at all? Do we want to put a sign in the common area? Yes or no? And after that, it's a matter of, everything else has kind of been covered. The ACC has said it works for them. They asked the city about, the different questions they had. The city came back with, it's all good with the city. So I guess the real question for the board is, do we want a sign at all? Yes or no?
I guess my thing is that there's already a sign out there. So this would be a nicer sign. Yeah, so that, I mean, that's one thing to think about. There's not like there's not a sign there. There is a sign. It's just one of these metal signs. So do we want to make it a nicer sign? So, because that was my initial thought too. Do we want to have a sign? But there is a sign there already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah. That's the, right. So it kind of answers that question a little bit. I guess the other question would be, and I don't know if we have to answer it right now, but what's the offset from the road that we would prefer? Maybe we would like to go look and see, at that site what that looks like and what our opinion might be. Now, that doesn't mean we can't approve the sign and then determine that offset from the road after we look at it. So- Chuck has been consulted. Okay. Okay. All right.
Let him also weigh in on where the
Okay.
placement is.
Yeah.
He might want it a little further for his mowing program, who knows?
So how about, does somebody want to make a motion to either approve or disapprove the sign, and then we can determine the placement later?
I'll make the motion to approve the sign.
Lisay, we have Lisay in a second, okay, and so all in favor of putting the sign in?
Aye.
All of us, okay, good, so you've got a sign, Jen. We'll go now, the board will work with Chuck and we'll figure out kind of where we want to place it. You like the middle position, so we'll take that into consideration, but it may be one of the others. Thank you very much, Jen.
So that was subject to board approval.
The
Of
the
the
last item on the agenda is the one that we just added, and that's
Trying to keep-
appointing a negotiator for Christie's. So, board discussion on that point?
I feel like I have probably the most experience as far as when it comes to negotiating leases. I feel like I probably have the most experience as restaurants go. And I honestly have never even talked to the Christie's group except for that one time that we've met. And I would not want to have Rick be the exclusive negotiator on our Christie's. Well, that's how I would like to work together, but at the same time, that's not what's been happening. And that's kind of the frustrating part with what's going on. We've been trying to work and get them to work with us even on the Falcon, but nothing's going anywhere. We went in a big circle and came back to nowhere. If you want to talk about negotiations, again, I've personally have put out stipulations, negotiations of terms and physical things. So when we have talked about negotiations, I've actually been the only one that has been doing that as far as putting out terms and negotiations. So I feel like I would be the one that should be out there discussing with them, because I've been, and I haven't heard back from any of y'all as far as what I put out.
Made suggestions for the contract that we've all looked at. He's made suggestions, and I've made suggestions. The final decision is all of us. So
I understand that.
negotiating it doesn't matter until you get to the final decision, and then everybody looks at it.
From my perspective, it's beyond absolutely clear that the only person, if we're going to have a negotiator appointed officially by this board for a restaurant contract, the only person on this board that's qualified to do that is Seth. No one else on the board has anywhere near the experience Seth has in negotiating restaurant contracts. So if we do appoint someone officially as the negotiator for the Christie's contract, it clearly needs to be Seth.
I think we should co-team it with Rick and Seth. Seth isn't always available. He has a very tight schedule. Rick is always available. So I like Rick handling the day-to-day communications with Christie. Seth can ask questions of Rick. Rick can supply those questions to Seth. I think both of them can work together to make this deal done.
Yeah.
Thus far, I have not taken the position as a negotiator. I've only been a facilitator, if you will. That's what I was instructed to do, so that's what I've done. As a negotiator, I will keep everyone on this board on the emails, and they can look at it if they want to. I record conversations. Those recordings are transcribed. You're welcome to read them. I don't do anything unilaterally. Everything I do will be bilateral. If you guys choose Seth to work with me, I'll work with him, and I'll work with all 5 others of you. Y'all tell me I'm here for the community. That's what the roundtables are about. I'm not unilateral about anything, and that's my position.
I do. I make a team motion that both Seth and Rick work together with the Christie's group. I also feel like the Falcons should bring us their candidate too.
We can ask them for that.
I would agree to working with you, Rick, hand in hand on negotiations. I said I would agree of us being co-negotiators with the Christie's group. But I also, not dropping this, I still want us to get through this Falcon and get something done on this, because they have some good leads for us that could potentially bring in way more financials for us than what Christie's is bringing.
My concern, since you bring the topic up, my concern with it is the 180 days that is said. I got it on here, I pulled it up. They said 180 days from the time we tell them to go. So that means we're looking at possibly getting them in here by Thanksgiving.
Well, that's the law. That was just an estimate on typical deals. That's fair enough. That doesn't mean it's going to take that long. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're trying to take a vote on the motion. Okay, fair enough.
You guys are going to work together, great.
We're taking a vote on this motion. All right, and so to appoint Seth and Rick, a negotiating team for Christie's. Is that what we're doing? Yes. Okay. So Jen's not here, but we might be able to get 4 votes anyway. So all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
We got 5, we got 6. So I think Jen had to go pee. I probably shouldn't have shared that.
Definitely not.
No. Okay, so, oh my God, I think we're done.
Can I say one thing?
Well, yeah, sure.
I just think that, I know it seems like there's a lot of controversy, but if we don't talk it through and give everybody's opinions, then we're not really working the way we should. We don't all have to agree every minute of the time. It needs to be, otherwise we just have one person.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I feel like we kept it civil. I feel like we made our points, and everyone listened, and everyone had a chance to speak. So I know some of the residents and owners out here are saying, you guys are dysfunctional, but honestly, I've told this to the board many times. Disagreement is necessary. That's how you make progress, right? You work through those disagreements, and you get shit done. So I think we're good. I mean, there's some disagreement, sure, and there's maybe some personality clashes every now and again, but I think we're fine. I think we're fine. So Julie just moved to adjourn the meeting, and I think Jen seconded it. All in favor? We are done. Oh yeah, we're opening it up to the owners' forums. Yes.
Falcon Landing. Thank you for the dialogue today. A couple of things. The fact that there's $436,000 in cash in the bank. A couple of things that are maintenance related that need to be taken care of. One are the lights on poles in the plaza. It's a safety issue, number one, and number two.
Lights on the pole.
In the plaza. Okay, half of them are out. It's a safety issue, number one. Number two, it's a bad look for our visitors coming into the community. Number two.
And Chip, if I'm not mistaken, that's already being addressed, right? Yeah.
I got in touch with Encore. She said Encore was coming out and they grabbed most of these lights.
They don't take care of that light.
Right, they told us that. So now we know.
So Yeah, so we'll have Chuck.
But they did say the light in the plaza you're referring to was a community light. They said that's a community light. Is that right?
It's the ones that we repair and maintain. It's a tall pole in the middle.
That's what she said. I'm going off of what she said, because I don't have anything. I don't know.
Chip will get it done.
Number two, I submitted photographs a month ago. I walked the ring a couple of times a week and try to time that so that I don't get run over by certain people here. But there are about.
I swear it wasn't me.
No. There's about 4 places where the rebar is coming through, and this is about $200 worth of cold patch. And I was told by someone that works for CLCA, and it's not the 2 ladies over here, that they aren't allowed to buy any cold patch to fix that. And the rebar is coming through. This is an easy patch. I would think with $436, you guys could fork out, $500 for some of this. The last thing I have is.
Real quick, Chuck has done some of those. And it's to help with the water damage, so it slows the water damage down on the roads.
I walked yesterday and I didn't see that.
Okay, I'll make sure, since I do maintenance, I'll make sure it gets on his list.
The last thing is the creek, or the flow area that comes out of 740, when you go up the hill on the yacht club on the left there. If you could get the maintenance guys to clean that creek out, there's a lot of debris in there that's going to end up in the ponds, and it'll just be one less thing that Linda Honeycutt has to worry about.
Can you tell me exactly, I'm sorry, where?
So if you're walking on the yacht club on the left-hand side, you go uphill towards the park, between the 2 houses, there's an empty area there where the county sheriff lives. Next to that, there's a outlet that comes out from under Ridge Road, and there's a stream that runs down there, it goes under Yacht Club and then ends up in the pond. That little stream thing is all full of debris. Just needs, they mow an expert, they need to take some time to clean it.
It's not on the park side, it's on the other side of the park, on the other side of the street?
No, it's on
the Ridge Road side or
Ridge Road?
It's on the Ridge Road side.
Oh.
That's it, thanks.
Thank you, Chip.
That for wages of work. My question is there a process for are residents able to sell alcohol at any community event for their charity of choice?
Charities, yes.
So anybody can sell alcohol at any event?
For charity.
For charity, yes.
Yeah. Typically, do you have one?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Would you talk to me? Huh? Would you talk to me after?
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was a process or if you could sell it.
You're asking for donation and you're giving it away, basically.
Yeah.
That's in line with the agency.
Yes.
They don't care if they give away all the
And that's yours.
Okay.
Happy Holiday at 110 Clipper. Greg, I like what you said at the end, that there is, you have disagreements. Julie, you brought it up as well. This is very refreshing for those of us that have been in this community for a while, where we had past boards where it was one way, and we didn't hear any of the conflicts or discussions. This is fantastic. There is disagreements. People, and I feel like the board's more comfortable coming out and saying, this is how I feel. The community is behind whatever you want to do, but you have to realize this is a snake bit community financially.
Understood.
All right? Not once, not twice, but 5 different times.
That's exactly why we want to do it the right way.
Exactly. So we're a little concerned when we hear management agreement. We're a little concerned about that, and it's with warrant, as everybody can agree, all right? So I think my biggest concern is if we have a good real estate, a restaurant attorney, we have an HOA attorney. I'm not understanding why we need to bring in a management group, okay? Unless it's to pay them a flat fee. If we think that flat fee is warranted, I just don't see a long-term commitment of 3% or 5%. I just don't. I mean, that's just my opinion.
And yeah, sure, no, I appreciate that. And I made the point several times during the meeting, it's because of our due diligence requirements. If we don't have an agreement with them, all of their leads go away, so we are left with one. And so there's no, we don't even have that option, and we're rejecting that option. And it's our duty to consider all viable options.
But I don't think we need to sign an unless.
But if we don't sign the agreement, that goes away.
Would they sign an agreement for a flat fee?
Well, they will if it's just a lead that we generate. But if it's their, they did the marketing. But they did the marketing and generated the lead and all that. So it's a traditional kind of real estate commission arrangement if it's their lead. And it's a flat fee if it's our lead.
If we document the groups that have come through here and document it, we have toured. I mean,
Exactly, right. So you have it, yeah.
Yeah, we need to start documenting.
But if they don't come.
I don't know who the steakhouse group was, because they didn't tell me.
Well, could you?
I know their names is Mike
present it to their- Okay, this is our deadline of May 1st. So if you have a legitimate, lead for May 1st, tell them to
That was
submit
the
it.
plan. Oh, we have to.
And they can put their name, say, if you
Right.
go with this lead, then it's gonna be this amount.
Yeah.
And then you can decide.
That's exactly what we were trying to
That's
do.
what this contract in here today, if you look
It's
through it,
exactly
exactly
the
what we're trying
contract.
to
Well,
do.
and they
But
have
why do you need to
contract.
sign the cart before the horse? I don't understand.
Because this contract is not a cart before the horse. This is all inclusive all at the same time. This is not like, oh, you're gonna pay us and then we'll bring you the leads. You're paying them if the lead is successful. We only pay them if we sign with Christie's group for the flat fees. If they help us with the negotiations, we only pay them once the deal is done.
When there's a signed
There's no paying this up front.
Why are we so gung ho? Why do I get the impression that just a couple people on the board is just like, we have to go with the Falcon, we have to go with the Falcon?
Because they brought us great leads and they've, like I said, there's
It's funny. That's how I feel about a couple of people on the board about Christie's. That's what's happening.
and that's exactly the flip side of Christie's. There's all, we have to go with Christie's, we have to go with
Your
Christie's.
presentation, you've got the information, that's what I don't understand.
And they haven't given us any back
Yeah, they
information.
don't have all their information.
Okay?
Okay,
Where the Lombardi group.
I have a question.
I said my piece.
So back to your point, just to finish up on that, is that by doing our due diligence and making sure that we have both groups will be there, this contract that we're trying to finalize in here is not, and I want the board to understand it too, this is not that we're paying them anything up front. This is only if we sign a deal.
Nothing pays anybody upfront.
Well, that's what I want to, why are we worried about 90 days then? This is my question. So that's why I want to, why are we worried about 90 days? If we're not paying them up front, then who cares? We had 10 realtors coming through here.
But if you pay them, say they pay to negotiate with Christie's, all right, what if they bring in another person, then do we have to pay them?
No, we don't pay them, we only pay them the 8K if we sign the contract. If we bring them 10 restaurants and none of them pan out, we still, except for one, we only pay them the 8 flat fees
Okay,
for
so
one restaurant.
no fees, they don't get
They get
percentage.
0.
No
Well, they get a
matter
flat fee.
Oh, if we bring it, it's a
It's
flat
our
fee.
lead. If we bring that lead to the table and they help us negotiate that contract,
Okay.
they get a flat fee.
That's it.
If they not,
Yeah.
well, basically, yeah.
Some of ours, that costs us nothing when you're talking a $3 million contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money that what gets paid for commissions and real estate or lawyer fees is a very, very small piece of that, very tiny bit. So, I wouldn't get wrapped around the axle about that.
But
It's
if
a lot of money
they
to us.
agree, I'm trying to understand, if they agree with it, and we sign with it, then what are the terms?
Then
And
it's
it's
a
3%
commission.
of the
Well,
first 5 year, or whatever the first
It's
term
actually
of the
low.
contract.
It's not a lot.
That's not a lot of money if you're talking, that's not a lot of money when you're talking a 5-year contract with 2 to 3 5-year options and 20-year options, and you're talking potentially $12 million total or more in the total contract versus the small little fee they're gonna get up front for that first term. That's
You also
nothing.
have a huge lawyers, we know how that was.
Well, hold on, and what Andrea's point was, is that if they're gonna come to us with something, they're probably gonna try to get us more rent, because they know that we're gonna be paying that commission fee, that we're gonna be looking at that with Christie's total too. If we're gonna look at what's the total we're gonna make with Christie's over 10 years, and what's the total we're gonna make with them over 10 years, they're gonna know that they need to get that rent up because of the commission piece as well. I would think.
And there's enough money in there that difference is gonna be so small that I don't know that there's really gonna be a strong preference either way. The preference will be, let's get the best restaurant operator in here for our community, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have a question.
Evan.
And this is to the
But
three
Evan
of y'all.
I'll wait.
I
I'll
was
wait.
first.
No, you weren't.
I was.
He's had his hand up for a while.
Okay, go ahead, Shannon.
The three of y'all that are voting for or wanting to get Falcon in here. My concern is all I hear is due diligence. We have to make sure that we cover our ass and make sure that everybody brings us a LOI. Y'all have more than given them ample opportunity to get you an LOI. So to hear y'all say that time and time again is beyond me, how y'all can continue with that argument.
So the email I got this
I'm
week.
not through.
Oh, sorry,
Because there is no way that you cannot say, like Liz A said, everybody knows that y'all have been touring people through this restaurant facility for, Christie started in January. Everybody knows this. So the fight to have Falcon Group in here is absurd to me. I'm a realtor. The attorneys have every right to do everything we need. There's no reason for us to pay a dime to Falcon Group unless they bring us a better restaurant group than what we can see with Christie's.
I think it's.
I get it.
This is all right for months. This has been going on for
Now, on that
months.
point, the Falcon Group has an LOI they told us about. They're not going to give it to us until we sign this agreement. So when
that's not, and that they shouldn't do it.
I was talking the email last week.
That's BS.
Hold on, let me finish. The email last week, we said, can we get an LOI from this group? And they put a hold on it because they said, we need to get this signed first. Okay? So,
Yeah, that's what I don't like about Falcon Group.
but y'all gotta understand, why would they give us all this information and say, I mean, if you're, like you said, you're a realtor. If you just said, oh, well, there's this house over here you can go look at, and you didn't go look at it with them, and they went and talked to the owner and paid them off the bat, and you weren't in on the deal, you'd be like, I showed you that house. I was the one who gave you the deal. So that's the exact same thing that's going
Okay,
on.
but originally Greg said originally that we did not have to sign a listing agreement with, you said that. We did not have to sign a listing agreement with Falcon Group. That's what you said.
What did I say?
We did not have to sign a listing agreement with Falcon Group. You said that in the last meeting.
We don't have to sign? Well, we don't have to sign anything.
Right,
honestly,
and
with
that's what you
anybody.
said
We don't have to sign a contract.
when it was marketed by them on their website about our club, you said we did not have a listing agreement.
We did not have one. I didn't say we did not have to sign one.
You said
we
we did not have to sign one.
Well,
That's what you said.
In any case.
But that's
kind
what
of
you
a
said.
moot point. I don't think that's right. But the point really is, if we don't have something on paper with the Falcon Group, all those leads go away, and we're left with a single, basically no bid contract.
Okay, but you've given them every opportunity.
Y'all make sure you say your
We've
name.
given them opportunities, and they're working on those opportunities.
Shannon Wagner, 327 Harborview.
So the truth is that Falcon Group actually really started at the beginning of February because they had a trade show that they were doing marketing for this property. So, well, we've been in touch since November.
Evan Madison, 202 Gretel. I'm going to change the topic a little bit. The cell tower that we keep discussing, spoken a lot to the city of Rockwall about this. That is designated green belt. In order for that to be changed over, you have to do an SUP. You have to change a portion of the green belt, designating it differently. Our bylaws do not allow for that, first of all, or our covenants and restrictions. Second of all, as I've heard, it's not that much money. Third, as far as an income standpoint, so there's really, what's the point? Third, Ryan Miller has said that if we don't do it, they'll put it in the park across the street. I think that would be significantly better than having a ginormous cell tower at the entrance of our neighborhood that welcomes all of our guests to this wonderful neighborhood. Oh, by the way, here's a cell tower base that you have to drive by. It's a horrible thing for our brand. It's a horrible thing for the neighborhood. If you're pushing that through for the tiny little bit of money that it is, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it at all. Let them put it over on the parkland and protect the approach to our neighborhood. It will be horrible from a resale standpoint for homes and other things.
Well, I guess my question would be, if it's just across the street, then what's the difference? If
Point
you're
taken.
driving into our neighborhood, you're going to see it no matter what.
No. It's going to be in what Ryan Miller said would be in the very back corner up to Ridge Road, backing up to the duplexes that are, yeah. So that's significantly better than having it at the entrance of our neighborhood.
Maybe. And it might change the coverage of the neighborhood significantly as well.
It doesn't actually.
Have you seen the map? Have you seen the heat map?
You guys hadn't even spoken to Ryan Miller. We've done a lot of that work, and I would appreciate it if you don't muddy the look of our neighborhood with a cell tower at the entrance. So that's
want us to reach out to Ryan? Can we reach out to Ryan?
You guys should, if you're going this path, you should have already done this. You have people. Yeah. Ryan Miller. Wait. Oh, I'm not done. That was
Miller.
First thing. Second of all, legal opinions. Mark Stewart has asked a very good question because everything at the state level, everything on HOA perspective says that you are to provide agendas. Mark Stewart's and you went back and forth on it. You said that you have a legal opinion. It's just a verbal statement. Then you put the onus back on Mark saying provide a contrary opinion. That's, first of all, a joke that you even responded with that. That said, Greg, you then received a certified letter request to provide that legal opinion because we care about transparency and making sure that people are being honest. We talk a lot today about fiduciary duty and not messing that up. However, the response that came back to Mark from the HOA was that legal opinion is protected by client-attorney privilege, and so you don't have to show the legal opinion. I'm just saying, in a world where we have all sorts of views about different governments and totalitarianism and everything, you, even if it's the letter of the law, the spirit of the law for Chandlers should be that you show it. So either you have it or you weren't being honest. And if you weren't, I'm saying, if you don't have it, if you don't have a legal opinion and you're not willing to share it, you're not being honest with the neighborhood. And that is a break of your fiduciary duty, a major break.
How is that not being honest?
Well, he's saying, I guess he's saying
you had a Freedom of Information request certified. That is the process. And your response was, you don't have to provide it.
But it actually says all of every text and every.
Yeah, it was a broad request.
And that is how that's supposed to be worded. And you guys denied all of it.
No, not we. We submitted that to our attorney, and our attorney said,
all right,
this is your response, because if you don't respond consistently, then you have to.
And I'm going to go back to letter of the law versus spirit of the law. If you actually care about transparency, you would be recording and providing live ability for people to see this that maybe couldn't come down here on a rainy day. You would then have a recording of it later so that if anybody else in the neighborhood wanted to catch up. Mark Stewart has not been able to come to these meetings. We are on the communication committee. We want to make sure that we get proper information out in a responsible time. When I was on the board, that was 3 days. With your process, it's 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks for minutes and other things. And then it gives us.
You're being very generalized here. The minutes, I explained that too. The minutes don't get posted until they're approved. We don't post unapproved minutes. So that's a month.
Greg.
It's very simple.
No, it is very simple. When I was on the board, we emailed approval of that so that we could get the minutes out to the neighborhood within 48 to 72 hours. That way, people could follow the flow of information. If you wait 4 to 6 weeks, it's off of people's radar, okay? And you can put the blame on them, but the onus is on you guys to actually be transparent. You have a method and a way to do that, but you deny it, okay? We should have.
Maybe not deny, maybe help.
We should have recordings of all of the meetings, including not just board meetings, but meetings of the board per the covenants and restrictions. Meetings of the board would be your work sessions and it would be the round tables. No, that is meetings of the board. Those are the board meetings. We absolutely did. There's 3 years.
Please, there's stuff that's wrong.
Hey, Kathy.
No. If you want to say that we're doing it wrong, fair enough. I'll take that feedback. But most of your points are not even really valid.
You need to supply the legal opinion.
Well, we don't need to do anything. We have
Karen
to
is the one that stopped the
Great.
meeting, the filming of the meeting, because she said, she looked it up, she said it's not needed. And it took up a lot of space in Town Square.
You're correct, Jose. It's not necessarily required, but it is an incredibly good way.
Honestly, do you think it's fair to show up at a round table, not tell people to record?
Yes, it's legally.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's fair.
It's Texas law, you guys. Anyone. Yes, it is.
You have to tell people you're
No, you do not. Not in Texas. No, you do not. You do not understand the law, Lizzie. You do not understand the law. In Texas, you do not have to let any party know that you're recording.
And nobody appreciates it, Evan. Nobody appreciates it.
It wasn't appreciated.
It was.
No, it
Evan-
Mark
wasn't.
did it, but you're suggesting.
Evan, I did talk to Mark and said for him to record the meetings. I know he couldn't make it today. I didn't know that till this morning because he dropped off newsletters to my husband, but I have asked him to record the meetings, and he has been recording them and posting them.
A vocal recording is very different from a actual video recording that can be housed for perpetuity so that people can know what has happened.
And again,
That's
thank you for your
transparency.
feedback. And we have a whole lot of stuff on our plate, and we will try to get more recordings.
I think
done.
Mark's-
I understand
I
a
think
lot on
Mark-
your plate because I went through
But
it.
we have
Yeah,
one
you
more
did.
question. This lady back over here.
Really?
Come on, everyone. Everybody gets a chance to speak.
Shut up.
Everybody gets a chance to speak.
You
So
guys are the problem with me.
stop. You guys sit down. Come on.
Hey guys, if we were to continue questions, they got to come to the board, not to each other. Just go to the board, or we're going to have to end it. So we're going to have any last questions? Okay. And I think she was called. What's your name, please?
I understand that the kitchen has been marked by a fire department, and I'm sorry,
she wanted to know, since the doors are locked to the kitchen, are we addressing the issues? Yes. Their doors are locked because is it not the fire department, the health? One of the two. The health district doesn't want anyone using it. Like when we have events here, or someone has a birthday here, they don't want them using it. And if someone's caught in there, they'll shut the whole thing down. So it must be shut down until we finish completing the complete list.
the parking lots over in the condos, when Encore came in and did the electrical work, they drilled holes in the concrete, supposed to fill it up with dirt. But the first rain that came in, washed it all away. So
Encore did that?
it's just undermining the whole park.
So you're talking about Encore did that?
Over in the parking lot of
Not
down
sure.
in the court, there's in front of the brick buildings, the brick condos, there's 2 holes, about this big ring.
Okay. In the street. In the street?
In Chandlers or Cutter, or next door?
Cutter.
So that's probably a Cutter Hill HOA issue to call Encore and get them back out.
They had tried, supposed
Okay. I don't know that there's anything.
Well, we can.
Cell tower, a cell tower thing, I just want to bring up that it does say that the association has the right to grant easements or right of ways to all any part of common area to any public agency, authority, or utility for the purpose of constructing, operating, and maintaining utility service systems. So
Correct.
Can you read to the end of that?
So, and again, we have a legal opinion, Evan, that says that that is perfectly legal for us to do and to get paid for it.
Yeah, and that's in construction.
Yeah, so we could grant an easement and get paid for it, and that's actually what we're waiting on from AT&T to see if they have a proposal for an easement.
Yeah, I would like to know.
They're on public thoroughfares and facility pursuant to approval by Class B member and a 2/3 majority of the Class B is going to
Right, that's what he's going.
Yeah, and 2/3 majority vote of board and directors at a regular meeting of the board or at a meeting duly called for this purpose.
Right, so if we wanted to do it, we do it at a board meeting, and 5 of us would have to agree.
Right.
Or you could not have a cell tower at the entrance.
Well, yeah, then there wouldn't be a vote.
I mean, it's in there. You have the authority.
One last question.
Yeah. Debbie, we're gonna get you in here, okay?
Any idea of rendering anything of the proposed cell tower? Because to your point, Evan, they come in all sizes, shapes, and colors.
Yes.
I don't know if
I've never seen it.
The point is, you wanna know if you can get a
we
stealth
have any
tower.
idea of what this is going to look like.
That's what
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. Well, I mean, right now, and I know Chip's still. Well, right now, the tentative proposal, if you will, we don't have a proposal yet, but the tentative idea is to get the coverage that we need, it would be what's called a 100-foot monopole.
It's a monopole, yeah, exactly.
So that's, and no, there aren't any renderings, we haven't even gotten that proposal from AT&T yet. Basically, we told them, because they were going under the assumption that it's gonna be a lease of, a land lease. And since we can't technically lease common area, we can grant an easement.
Not all cell towers are the ugly eyesores that they have been.
Right. Okay, right. 100 feet though, if you go over to the one on Summer Lee next to the fire station, you'll get a pretty good idea of what we're talking about. It's ugly for it.
We'll have renderings, we'll have all of that stuff.
You can always put a
As
lot
they
on
bring
it.
a proposal to us.
Well, that's, you have to. You have to.
Right, we don't, yeah.
You don't know what you're getting.
And there'll be a nice fence around it.
Put it in the park.
Good looking fence, stone columns, or whatever we decide to do. We can specify what the fence is.
That's for sure.
Debbie, you've been waiting forever.
Rick Morrison, 436 Columbia. Okay, number one, the clock tower. Yeah, I don't want anything unsightly either. However, when we owned an office building across the lake, they approached the buildings there and wanted to do a clock tower. And it's beautiful. It's for, communications. Sure. And it built like a clock tower. Sure. It looks aesthetic. It's gorgeous. So, the other thing. All right.
And that, actually, I think they look great. The problem is that we won't get the coverage for the neighborhood that we would need to justify putting something in there. It would be a very small area of coverage in Chandler. Now, it would cover Buffalo Creek better, but it wouldn't be a whole lot for us, so.
You mean the height of the clock tower?
Yeah, exactly. The height of it doesn't cover.
Clock towers come in all
because it has
sorts
to
of
look over
different
the hill,
heights.
basically.
So that's why the 100-foot monopoles.
The 100-foot monopoles.
It was taller than two-story buildings.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about 100-foot monopoles of 10 stories.
Debbie, they're saying 100-foot monopole. The reason for that is because we have certain aspects. It's gonna be good for people behind it, for people come this way, it's gonna be good. It's only gonna get 30% more coverage in Chandler, not in your area yet, because you're far beat.
The engineering modeling of this, I've seen, I mean, they've given that to me, and it covers the whole neighborhood.
Oh yeah, it's gonna cover the whole neighborhood at a certain time, because that's when the rec controllers come in and traffic beats. When traffic's not beat, then it goes back up, that means your coverage is minimum. This is gonna go, it's gonna go either way, but that's what you're saying.
And for the people, that are within a quarter mile of it, it has some health implications.
Okay.
That's
All right, now my other thought is, Falcon Group already posted a listing of this, and now they want to come back
So,
for permission.
my mom.
They've already been spending money on marketing. Okay, but here's the other thing. I have my road set marketing. Sometimes we would just do a one-time showing agreement, which would give them a commission. We didn't have to sign a listing agreement. You're familiar with that. First one I ever saw was that come one paper.
Well, and y'all haven't seen this agreement, right? If the title of it has listing agreement in it, but there's nothing in there that says they're listing the property. It's basically a
Just be a
negotiation.
showing agreement.
Right?
So they are assured that they would get a flat commission.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean,
That's what it is, a showing agreement. It is a showing.
All right, and, okay, so you guys that are for the Falcon Group, are you getting finder's fees for bringing them in?
No.
I didn't bring him in.
No.
A resident brought him in.
Yeah, actually, it came, to be honest, it came, when it really came through Lise, through the realtor, through Joe. Okay,
Joe.
so again, that's the neatest thing about this Falcon Group is that they've got to me through Greg, through Lise, through two other different companies that I worked with that are completely separate that don't know each other. My CEO over here and a lawyer over here. So that's why I'm so gung-ho about them, because I'm like, wow, they're coming from all directions, and that's to me is a sign from God saying you need to use it, you know. You need to, because I thought that I would have the experience myself to do it all, but I also don't want to, you know, sign my name on there and like everyone pointing the finger at Seth, because I see what's happened to poor Evan here over the years. Okay?
Yeah,
so that's why I want to make sure that I'm doing the right deal here, and that's why another reason I'm so want to push Falcon to make sure that we are, all of us are covering our butts, because I don't want any of us on this board to have to go through this crap.
I don't think you have anything to worry about. The past board has done a lot of stuff, going to get loans and tie our monthly assessments to it.
Yeah, and that wasn't him either. That was
only
before.
takes
That
one
was
lawsuit.
So
They don't
I
hear.
remember that. That was long before.
They don't want to hear that.
You know, Scott Silva, David Bowden, all those guys. You know, so you guys got to remember that this is, as we would go through this, we want to move forward. And we don't want to look at the past and continue to go backwards in the past. We want to learn from our past, but we want to move forward. And the only way we're going to be able to move forward is as a team. And I've tried to explain that in every board meeting. We got to be a team here. And that's why I say I'll work with Rick on the negotiation. I would love to work hand in hand. But for someone to go off and do something on their own, that's what I'm not okay with. And Greg and I have been working with the Falcon Group because I'm not going to say I'm the only one who's going to work with Falcon Group. He's been working with them as well. And Lise with the Rosemary. So there's three of us that have been tied up with this Falcon Group one way or another. So,
but none of
that. That gives a little more clarity.
Has anybody asked that same question? Not that it's necessarily a fair question, but it's okay that you ask. But there are a couple of board members that are pushing really hard for Christie zoning.
Yeah.
We asked the question: are they getting a kickback?
Yeah.
This group won't ask that question.
Right? Right. I know. I'm just saying it's not a fair question if you don't ask.
Or are they getting some sort
That's
of
not how they play. They don't play fair.
I don't think that's true. I'm just saying it's not a very
This group doesn't play fair.
Right. But we are legally forbidden from taking anything like that.
If we're talking about the Christie's group, why are we not being public about the fact that one of the people has actually lived with Vincent Kenyon Walter? That has never come up. We've not talked about that. We've not talked about that the lady is not actually fully employed by them. This wasn't a group to begin with. They were trying to put something together. We've got a money guy, we've got a bartender of 3 years, and we have someone that works full-time in another job.
The board knows all this.
Okay, but why aren't we saying publicly that there is a connection to a former board member who didn't even complete his term? Like, they're pushing on it from behind the scenes as well.
No.
All of this stuff needs to come out. Again, transparency.
It's going to inform our decision. Right?
Yeah.
We know all of this as a board.
But it concerns me when one group tries to strong arm a board to get what they want. By the way, people that supported you and other people up here, but then when you don't do what they want, they immediately turn against you. They've been doing this same thing for 7 years, since 2017.
I'm new, so I take you at your word, but I will tell you, Evan, I will not be bullied. Period.
Well, we also, and I'm gonna
saying you are.
I know, and I'm gonna flip it a little bit, but the neighborhood shouldn't be bullied by the board either. Again, transparency on things, showing legal opinions. If you have one, show it.
Well, I take the advice of my attorney. That's what I do.
Is it your attorney or is it your
HOA attorney?
To clarify.
President of the HOA.
To clarify.
My attorney is the HOA attorney for the HOA. I'm not saying me personally.
Riddle Williams.
Riddle and Williams gave you that legal opinion.
Yes.
But you are not willing to, in good faith, to share that.
It has nothing to do with
It's not going to be, it's the lawyers.
It has to do with our lawyer saying
Lawyer
don't
said
share
don't
it.
share
It violates attorney-client privilege, and that opens up a whole can of worms.
The lawyers.
So I'm using his advice as what the board needs to do.
It's inaccurate according to the state of Texas.
Well, it's accurate according to an attorney who's board certified in specialization for Texas property law. I feel like he knows more about it than you do.
I've worked with them as well, Greg.
I know.
Okay, so.
You're coming in here soon as
Yeah,
we get us ready.
Well,
We promise to
sorry,
set up.
we're gonna.